freaking first cut. Golly.
What's good, everybody? Welcome into the final betting preview of the week for the 3M Open. Part of our first cut every single day. We continue to grow and look at the stars of the show. I am the coach, but these two are the names and the faces that you want to listen to today. First and foremost, Patrick McDonald. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning. What's going on, fellas? Coach, I got to give you a shout out. Brooks Koepka miscut last week. I'm the bigger man here, you know, snaps to you, but we'll get it right at the 3M Open this week.
Oh, I know you will, because you're like a rabid dog when you get backed into a corner, and I'm here for it. I am here for it. By the way, a lot of my picks last week, I was like, Shane Lowry, top 20, T21. It's why we tell you props to be very careful. I was really close to great, ended up terrible. But Sia Nejad, I was on a little mega preview, Sia, on Tuesday, and I had to jump in and defend you because people always want to take a shot at you on the one and dones. I can't figure it out.
Well, I mean, it's very well deserved. But while we're patting ourselves on the back, I do want to say this show last week, I had Cameron Smith as an outright at plus 2,500 or wherever you got it. And I also had Colin Morikawa to miss the cut at plus 300. So, the one and done is one thing. But in terms of the outrights that I'm hitting on this show on the first cut, I'm pretty happy about the result.
I've been trying to explain to Mark Immelman how it actually works because he loves to talk trash on the one and done. I said, do you realize that we make so much more money on our weekly bets than on a yearly one and done? But I understand it's a bragging issue. All right, let's get into it. And let's focus on the 3M Open TPC Twin Cities. Cameron Champ is the defending champion, boys. But I've seen a lot of people, including myself, that are fading him this week. All week, it should be in the high 80s, the high 90s, only a slight chance of rain on Saturday. So it should be perfect weather. Let's start, gentlemen, with outright winners. Tony Finau is your betting favorite at plus 1,200. Hideki at plus 1,600. And for some reason, Sunjay M plus 1,600, depending on where you have your sports book. Patrick, let's start with you. Who do you like outright this week in Minnesota?
Yeah, I mean, I think looking back to the first one with Matthew Wolff win here, it's kind of think back of breaking through. And so I started with Davis Riley at 25-1, the PGA Tour rookie. A lot of talk of Cameron Young for PGA Tour Rookie of the Year, Thigala as well. And Riley's kind of taken a backseat the past month or so, but playoff loser at the Valspar, could have easily won at Colonial as well, had the back nine lead there, and has a really nice blend of distance and accuracy, which you're going to need this week. So I really like the number at 25-1. I like that he didn't, play in Scotland at all. So he should be pretty rested, a lot of energy. And then a bit further down, another guy who was in the mix at the Valspar was Matthew Neesmith at 55-1. Putting can be pretty easy here if you kind of look at the splits, and Neesmith can struggle on the greens from time to time, but ball striking wise, world class, really great off the tee. The iron play looked great at the Travelers Championship as well. So I like him, and those are kind of the two guys towards the top of the odds board that I'm attacking this week.
Yeah, Patrick, I think these are also two names that fit right into what the 3M is all about. It's only the fourth year for this tournament. And you mentioned Matthew Wolff. What an incredible win he had. Colin Morikawa was right there. Bryson DeChambeau was right there. And then you had last year, Cameron Champ. So this tournament has been about the young cats. So you picked up two guys that maybe a lot of people don't know yet, but they will. I love those two picks. So, Sia, let me come over to you because Patrick just picked a couple of guys that I think people are really high on, but non-golf bettors may not know. Who are you picking this week?
Yeah, I mean, I've got a couple of those guys, and then I've got a couple of guys that are familiar faces, familiar names. I'll start with Cam Davis at the top at plus 2,500. Listen, I'll be honest, I'm not in love with that number, plus 2,500, but we do have to put it in its proper context. There's not many guys above Cam Davis that are way more talented than Cam Davis. Of course, Hideki Matsuyama is, Sungjae Im traditionally is, Tony Finau, but Cam Davis is right there in this field. So I think plus 2,500 is a fair number. Brendan Steele at plus 3,500. This guy is just a monster when you look at the metrics, the strokes gain metrics. He's all over the place. And honestly, that's complemented quite nicely by his finishing positions. Brendan Steele has, there's a lot of guys who the metrics speak to you, but then you look at the finishing positions and it doesn't really match up. He's made 7 cuts in a row, including 2 top 10. So I like him. A couple of names that are kind of further down the board that people might not be super familiar with. CT Pan at plus 5,500. I think CT Pan is really interesting. He typically doesn't marry the off the tee and the approach game in the same tournament, which is why he's plus 5,500. But to the extent he can do that, he can be an absolute monster with the ball striking. So I'm looking for tremendous upside, and I'm looking for long odds. Plus 5,500 is the right price there. Emiliano Grillo at plus 6,500. Just 2 years ago, he was 3rd place here. The ball striking has started to come back. Grillo's ball striking kind of went away from him earlier in the year. It's starting to look like the old Grillo. And even though this is potentially a team no putt course, his putter has actually come around to a point where he's kind of like middle of this field instead of dead last. You know, he is still on team no putt in my opinion, but his putter is definitely coming around a little bit, that it's not a complete disaster. The last guy at plus 8,000 is Austin Smotherman. He is a long shot, but he is a guy that's been ball striking it really well. I think to the extent he has limitations, it's typically with the short game. I think that won't hurt him too bad here. It is a long shot, but I do like Smotherman to maybe sneak up on the leaderboard.
I don't know why it pops me when you say team no putt, but it does. By the way, on the mega preview here on the first cut, I had Emiliano Grillo as my sleeper. So I've also noticed his ball striking. So I like that pick. And you can get him at plus 5,000 or higher, depending on what sports book you use. All right, really good outright picks. Let's move along because we're trying to, as this is a new show, keep it to 30 minutes or less. We don't want to take up too much of your time at home. So let's get to the nationality picks, which sneakily every single week, if you can target the right one, guys, you can get some really good value. Top American Finau plus 1,000, top European Laird, Adam Hadwin, top Canadian, Cam Davis, top Australian. We already mentioned him. So Sia, let me come right back to you. Who do you like in the nationality market?
Yeah, you said it. Cam Davis at plus 140 as top Australian. So, I mean, one thing I noticed, and I mentioned this last week, I think in the context of top South African Louis Oosthuizen, which I did not get that one right. Louis obviously missing the cut, but the odds for Louis top 20 were actually worse than the odds of him being top South African. And here we have Cam Davis at plus 140 against very limited competition in that quote Australian market. It's also plus 140 in the top 20 market. So give me a limited field in terms of competition, you know, in terms of that Australian market versus the top 20, where, Coach, you said it yourself, you can have a guy that finishes 21st and that's a losing bet. So I like Cam Davis plus 140 here.
I think, Patrick, this is a great opportunity to point out that when you have really smart people like you and Sia, and I'm not saying the sports books aren't smart, but they would never have these numbers this similar, and it's a hidden hole. It's a hidden gem, and that's why we do the work. Patrick, who do you like on the nationality market?
Yeah, I mean, you said it. We're both really smart guys, so I'm on Cam Davis as well for top Australian. I mean, normally I look at the guys who have highest floor, and Cam Davis has only missed one cut since April, and he has 4 top 10 finishes since then, 2 in his last 2 weeks. So everything that Sia said, tenfold. It seems like a group play here for Cam Davis to be the top Australian.
Yeah, that's the one that jumped off the page to me. I also don't mind Adam Hadwin, top Canadian, at plus 150. He's really been trending the last couple of months as well. All right, moving on. And this is where Sia Nejad really flexes those muscles. And this is first round leaders. Now, this has become a market unto its own. As golf bettings continue to grow, there's certain bets that people really love. And this is one of them. But you got to have the right mentality. You got to be aggressive from the jump. You got to be aggressive on Thursday. And not everybody, Sia, has that mentality. You have nailed a lot of these this year. Who do you like this week?
I'm going to start with a guy that I think, Coach, will surprise you a little bit because he did have to endure the travel from the Open Championship all the way to Blaine, Minnesota. It's Sahith Theegala at plus 3,500. I think the reason I like him the most, and for the record, as far as wear and tear, I do think that can impact him Thursday. I also think it can impact him later on in the tournament when that fatigue maybe catches up to him. But I just really like this guy's ability to pop. I mean, if you look at what he can do on the par fives and you look at just how he scores in terms of the birdie birdie making. He is a guy that's not only ball striking it well, but can absolutely put a really, really good first round together. So at plus 3,500, I do like Sia Nejad. Brendan Steele, a guy we talked about at plus 4,500. If the putter can be decent for Brendan Steele, the way he's been ball striking it, he can absolutely first round leader this thing at plus 4,500. And then a few long shots after that. Okay, so Ryan Palmer at plus 6,000. You know, if you look at his metrics, they're not great. But Ryan Palmer is first of all in the midst of trying to qualify for the FedEx Cup playoffs. And he is the type of veteran that I think can surprise a lot of people. You know, we're all looking at the young guys like Davis Riley and Cam Davis and Sia Nejad, and deservedly so. But Ryan Palmer is one of those veterans that can pop and usually does pop 2, 3, 4, 5 tournaments per year. With him trying to come in and make the FedEx Cup playoffs, I absolutely can see him putting a good first round together. I don't expect it over 4 rounds, but for one, I like it. Real quick on the last 3, CT Pan at plus 6,000. We already talked about him. He is a very volatile golfer. There's a lot of water around here. Both he and Ryan Palmer can get into trouble really quick, but if the ball striking is on point, absolutely CT Pan at plus 6,000 can come in. Tyler Duncan plus 8,000. His metrics really speak to me. He's gained ball striking 6 tournaments in a row. I really like him for 1 round, maybe not 4. And then finally, Chesson Hadley, another guy who's really trying to catch up to the top 125. He's actually been playing really well lately, and that's after about 2 years of just being really, really bad. The approach game is coming around. The putter has gotten a little hot here and there. At plus 9,000, I think Chesson Hadley is a good long shot to take.
Yeah, who can forget him a year ago at the Wyndham when he was right back in the same position again, his very first career hole-in-one on the last tournament, and his celebration was incredible. By the way, the Ryan Palmer pick, I did want to pick that one out of your selections because he has had really fast starts this year and has faded over the weekend. So it's a brilliant move by you. I just wanted to point out to the people at home, that's what his trend has been. Fast start, slow finishes. Patrick, who do you like this week? First round leader.
I'm loving this show. A lot of synergies already. You know, got some more overlap with Sia. I really love Brendan Steele for the first round. Like you said, you know, ball striking's been tremendous. We just need 18 holes of a somewhat competent putter, and he should be right there for the first round. And then Matthew Neesmith, again, have him in the outright, but I like him first round as well. He has a tendency to start fast. And then Troy Merritt is a guy who I played outright as well, and I'm going to play him for the first round. Second in approach at the Scottish Open, which was kind of quiet. Finished T30 there. He finished T7 here in 2019. He can run scorching hot on the greens when he gets it going. So I like him at 80-1 as a first-round leader as well.
Coach, can I?
Yeah, of course.
Coach, I'm so sorry. I just want to point out something that's pretty important with respect to first-round leaders. All the guys that Patrick picked and all the guys that I picked are actually in the AM wave, pretty early in the AM wave on Thursday, and that is probably the wave that's going to have the advantage. The wind isn't going to be absolutely brutal in the afternoon, but it is going to pick up both from a gust and a sustained wind standpoint. So the advantage, like it usually is in the AM, and I just want to point out all the guys we just mentioned are in the AM wave tomorrow.
And I'm really glad you pointed that out. Also, I wanted to point out that the way the guys are doing it, you can still bet on all of them, and still, if you cash one, you'll profit. It's a really smart way of doing it at different numbers instead of doing a bunch at plus 2,000 or plus 1,500. It's a really good way of stacking those. So hopefully you all are paying attention and you're writing these down. All right. Now, you mentioned Brendan Steele, and I think I've told this story before, maybe not on this show, but certainly on the First Cut, that I was listening to a podcast, and he was talking about golf betting. And he said, I don't know why guys bet on 20 or 30 different golfers every single week. He goes, find 5 or 6 and just lay on those guys all year long. You won't win every single matchup, but you'll win more than you lose. I've started kind of doing that, and it's changed everything when it comes to head-to-head matchups that I believe are where your bread and butter should be every single week. So, Patrick, with that preface, who do you like this week from the Caesars Sportsbook and their plethora of matchups that they offer us every single week?
Yeah, I feel like I'm beating a dead horse, but I'm on Matthew Neesmith in another market, minus 110 over Wyndham Clark. Clark, you know, kind of a trendy pick this week. He's long off the tee, can really catch fire with the putter, but his approach play and ball striking is kind of just a big question mark for me. I think Neesmith has a higher floor there, so I like him there. And then a line that honestly surprised me was Adam Long plus 100 against Ches Reavie. I know Reavie's coming off the Barracuda Championship victory. Played well here last year, but Adam Long has 3 straight top 25s, has a great history here. I made Long the favorite, to tell you the truth, so I'll take him at plus 100.
You must have been watching The Early Edge yesterday, our little award-winning show that we do every day. You might have heard of it. And this was one of my best bets on the show, Adam Long over Ches Reavie.
Synergies, baby. Synergies.
Come on. And by the way, do you know, Patrick, the one place where you'll never hear somebody say, oh, you're beating a dead horse with these picks? Do you know that one place?
Right here.
Actually, no. At the pay window when you're cashing your ticket. They never say that.
Of course.
So keep beating that dead horse. Come on. All right. Now, I love those matchups. Clearly, I love the Adam Long play. The hardest thing to do on the PGA Tour is to repeat back-to-back. Usually that first round, you stumble out of the blocks, and then you're playing catch-up the whole week. That's usually what happens. So I like that play a lot. Sia, talk to me.
This is kind of crazy. Speaking of synergy, for everybody that doesn't understand, Patrick and I or Coach, we don't at all talk about our picks before we have them. And I have two matchups. One's a matchup, one's a 3-ball actually. And it's Matthew Naismith minus 110 over Wyndham Clark. And I like it for all the reasons Patrick is talking about. I think Wyndham Clark is a sexy pick here because he can bomb it. And we know guys like Cameron Champ and Matthew Wolff have won here. And that's fine. That characteristic of golfer can be successful here. But the shorter hitter, like the Matthew Naismith or perhaps the Tyler Duncan, who is, can be good off the tee regardless of the short hitting and can be really dialed in on approach. That's a successful model here as well, as Michael Thompson proves. So I like Matthew Naismith over Wyndham Clark. The 3-ball, I did want to get some more access to Emiliano Grillo. So I have him plus 135 over John Huh and Danny Willett. Again, that's plus 135 over John Huh, Danny Willett. I will point out that Grillo is in the afternoon wave on Thursday. And to the extent you think that might be a disadvantage, Danny Willett in that 3-ball is the only guy that's in the morning. So Grillo is going up against John Huh, in my opinion, because I don't think Willett can really hang with these guys the way he's been ball striking it. And both Huh and Grillo are in the Thursday PM wave.
Another brilliant play by Sia. For those of you who are brand new to us, thanks for finding us, but also you're getting a great education this morning on how you put these matchups together. A 3-way is a great way to bring the number down if there's a third player you just don't think has a shot. And that's what Sia has pointed out right here. Love those two matchups. All right, let me get to a couple of audience questions before we get to our next thing. And before we do that, my goodness, we've grown so big, ladies and gentlemen. We have to pay those pesky little bills. So let's hear a word from, the incredible Paramount Plus.
Can someone please tell me what's going on?
You went ballistic on everyone.
I want in your water park right now!
And then you went full nuclear, Karen.
Go, kids, go!
Ah! I want to speak to your
South Park, The Streaming Wars Part 2. Now streaming.
I'll put you on TikTok! You're all about to be fired!
Exclusively on Paramount Plus.
People being fired. Interesting concept today. Hello, Henrik Stenson. So real quick, chat question. Patrick, we already talked about Adam Long. I do have Nick Carty in some of my picks this week. He's like plus 400, top 10 in that category. Do you like Nick Carty this week? Patrick, you, and then see if you want to jump in.
Yeah, I mean, what is there not to like about Nick Carty? He's obviously on a tear, played golf in Illinois, so kind of the same area of the country, and T13 at the Barracuda, T30 before that, T8 at the Travelers. He's just playing, great golf. I didn't get a look on his outright price. What do we have? Like
4,500, I believe.
Yeah, it's like in the 4,000 range. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think that's a great play if you're trying to add a mid-range guy. And then obviously Adam Long, we all love this week, especially over Ches Reavie.
I love that play so much. See it quickly. Your thoughts on Nick Carty?
Yeah, so Nick Carty's really interesting. I do like him. I'm actually avoiding him in DFS because I think he's going to be one of like 5 or 6 guys that's very popular. But that's why I'll avoid him in DFS, but get a piece of him in the outright market. I mean, listen, he's very volatile. That's obviously a good thing in the outright market. He's made 5 cuts in a row. He's got top 15s at the U.S. Open, the Travelers Championship, and the Barracuda Championship. I mean, those are very crowded fields, especially on the front end of what I just said, the U.S. Open and the Travelers. So he clearly has upside. So I think if you're getting it at 40 or 45 to 1, if I'm comparing it to Adam Long, I actually like the Hardy play just a touch better, actually. But I think they're both in play.
Patrick, I've probably done, I don't know, 100, 150 shows with Sia, football, golf. Do you ever feel dumber when you're doing a show with Sia and he points out stuff that you should know or you should pay attention to and you don't?
Yeah, I think it's been a common theme so far. I mean, we've been doing this show for like a month now.
Yeah,
I mean, I might have to show up one day buttoned up, and just like have all the notes ready.
I've done that. I've had to dress like Sia before.
Did it work?
Didn't help. It didn't help. No, it did not help me. I looked good, but it didn't help me. All right. Let's get into the top 20, top 10, and top 5 markets, and let's package them all together. What do we like? And Sia, let me come to you first in that top 20, top 10, top 5 market this week.
Yeah, so because of the volatility of this tournament, because of, shots like 100 and 150 to 1 really having outright potential here, I was really reticent to go top 5, top 10 really on anyone. There wasn't any numbers I was super in love with. Top 20, I did like somebody, and there's some overlap here. It's Brendan Steele at plus 160. Again, a guy that's really just been crushing it both in the metrics department and with the finishing positions. So Brendan Steele at plus 160, I could see him firmly being inside that top 20. I expect him to be inside the top 15, maybe even the top 10.
I love it. I actually agree with you. I made 2 picks this morning on the early edge. Top 20, Maverick McNeely. I think he's plus 125, and Adam Svensson at plus 175. But I agree. There wasn't a lot in this market this week that I liked. Patrick, did you find anything?
Yeah, I mean, given with how many implosions there are, I mean, you might wake up tomorrow and see one of your guys at like plus 4 because I hit 2 water balls or something. A couple of long shots I do like that I didn't mention when we were talking outrights that you might want to go top 20 instead. Garrett Piggo, 125 to 1, coming off a pretty decent Open Championship there. Was 6 in ball striking at the Memorial a few weeks ago. Played well in the United States, so I don't mind him. He's proven he can win. He had 3 worldwide victories last year, 1 at the Palmetto. And then Brandon Matthews is the name I'm very intrigued of. He is the longest player in the world, longer than Bryson, longer than Cameron Champ. Brandon Matthews, a winner on the Korn Ferry Tour this year. He'll be on the PGA Tour next year. He was T3, T15 his last 2 Korn Ferry Tour starts, made the cut at the U.S. Open, has some nice touch on and around the greens, and then obviously with the driver in hand, he's just an animal. So he's also 125 to 1 if you want to look for him in the top 20 market.
It's funny you bring up the Korn Ferry Tour. Do you know who the newly minted voice of the Korn Ferry Tour is, Patrick McDonald?
I do not, but does it rhyme with Ronathan Roachman?
As a matter of fact, it does. And
wow.
Yes, as a matter of fact, it does rhyme with that. Yes, I will be doing the next. Yeah, thank you very much. I don't think it's really breaking news.
I was going to ask, is it breaking news? Okay.
I just haven't promoted it too much. So, yeah, I'll be doing – if you see the Korn Ferry Tour on the Golf Channel, that will be my voice attached to it. So, yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. Our next one will be the Utah Championship in 2 weeks. We're going to blow it out. We have a big meeting today, actually, to talk about that. And the 25, which is the 25 guys that will advance, they should be set by the Utah Championship the week of August 1st. And I'll be doing that event. So I'm very pumped to be the voice, I guess, if you want to call it. But I'm pumped for us here because I want First Cut to take over the golfing world one job at a time. Sia, yes.
Can I just say, first of all, congratulations. I think that is just a match made in heaven.
Thank you.
The Korn Ferry Tour has so many stars on it that people don't see or don't know or don't appreciate yet. And I just want to make the commentary that to the extent we think we're, quote, losing players to the Live Tour, for example, just 6 months, 12 months ago, a lot of people didn't know who Mito Pereira was. Or Davis Riley, or Sahith Theegala. Like, these are all stars that are born on the Korn Ferry Tour for the most part, and they will be coming into there'll be an influx of them coming into the PGA Tour, and I don't think we're going to miss a beat. It's I understand it's all about like the true big stars like Justin Thomas and guys, whatever. But the point is, there are so many stars coming in on the rise that we are going to fall in love with, and I think the PGA Tour is in a much better spot than people think.
I agree with that. Not just because I work for the PGA Tour, but for all the things that you just said. And one of the reasons they picked me, I guess, or decided on me is because of my, as hard as it is to believe, because of my WWE background and the fact that everything we do there is storytelling and building stars and making people see things that others might not see. And that's what we're going to do with the Korn Ferry Tour. And there are some studs And Brandon Matthews is one of those studs. I got a text last night from a buddy. He was like, watch this kid. I was like, I already am. Wow. And so I like the fact that you guys pointed him out. And so now we can just talk more Korn Ferry Tour as we go along. But Sia, there's a lot of studs out there. Another name this week, Chris Gotterup. Remember that name. He may not even have to see the Korn Ferry Tour next year the way he's playing on the PGA Tour. So thank you for saying that. All right, couple more, and then we got to get out of here. Make or miss the cut. Last week, we hit a couple. Patrick, what do you like this week?
Yeah, we hit a couple, and I've kind of gotten a little addicted to these. I'm not going to lie. We're 3 for 4 on the show history, but the one that I missed, Cam Smith, last week, not great. But we'll try to make it up. And it's a guy we just mentioned. He's a former Korn Ferry Tour stud. Sahith Theegala, plus 275 to miss the cut. He's coming over from the Open. It was kind of a late addition there, and his irons have a tendency to abandon him every now and again. He made the cut at the John Deere Classic only by 1 stroke. He made a birdie on his last hole there. And he's not really too accurate off the tee, right? He can get pretty wayward, and with the 3M Open, TPC Twin Cities, Waters in play on 14 of 18 holes. I think it's a pretty good week to kind of, pick and choose some of the guys higher on the odds board to miss a cut, just because a couple loose swings really could be the end of the tournament. So Theegala is one of them that I've targeted.
I love that play because I got in a huge argument, as I tend to do, with Mark Immelman on the first cut, because we are fundamentally just opposite. And I talked about Theegala, and he's like, Coach, these young kids, they are in shape, and fatigue is nothing to them. You remember last year, you said the same thing. Louis Oosthuizen, what did he do? I'm like, are you going to ride Louis Oosthuizen's second place finish a year ago forever at the 3M? I'm not saying that it can't happen. I'm saying for the most part, guys that come over from the Open Championship struggle. That's all I'm saying. And Theegala is one of those guys. Plus, how hard he had to play to get into the Open. I mean, he was playing every single week just to get in, and then he got in when somebody else backed out, which was kind of funny. All right. I think I've gotten to all the audience questions, and I believe we have come to the last question of the day. From a betting perspective, I guess, what are you most, Sia, looking forward to this week at the 3M Open?
Yeah, that's it. That's an interesting question, because I think the first thing that comes to mind is one of these guys from the way back in the pack winning this tournament. What I mean from an odds standpoint, I think there are certainly guys up top like Hideki, for example, Davis Riley, Cam Davis, guys that we've talked about that can absolutely win this tournament. But I think this is a really big time opportunity for one of these, like kind of like no name or not a hot name that's in the 60 to 100 to 1 or maybe even 120 to 1 range to really contend here. And it's partly because of the FedEx Cup playoffs and the urgency that might be associated with that. I think when we talk about storylines, which we just did with the Korn Ferry Tour, I think there are storylines that are really starting now for a lot of these guys that are between like 80 and 150 in the FedEx Cup standings. And I think we're going to see some really cool stories because some of these guys are going to qualify with big tournaments this week, with big tournaments next week. And I'm really looking forward to that.
And let's remember, after this season, there is going to be a monumental change in how everything works. Playoffs, FedEx Cup, how you keep your PGA Tour card. It's going to become a lot harder, I believe, because they want the best players to be on the PGA Tour. Patrick, same question to you.
Yeah, I think obviously it seems like last week we were just in Hawaii and now we only have 3 tournaments left for the postseason. It's pretty crazy. So FedEx Cup playoffs is a great call. But I'm an agent of chaos. I can't wait for the implosions. There's so much water around this course. You look last year, the 18th hole, like Ricky Fowler was making a charge on Friday. Card's a snowman. Tony Finau in 2020 messed up on 18. It's a great, par 5 with water on the right side of the fairway and in front of the green. So I'm just chaos. That's what I'm looking forward to.
The one thing I'm not going to miss this year is Bryson DeChambeau yelling at anybody at the Rocket Mortgage or the 3M or the Wyndham or any of these tournaments, because he will not be playing in them. By the way, I found out this morning, not that I'm here to pat myself on the back, but I got assigned to the Tour Championship this morning too. So I'll be doing the Tour Championship, which I'm pumped for. I am pumped for.
That's awesome.
So pretty soon the first cut is going to be all over every big tournament. And I'm taking all you guys with me, damn it. all of you guys with me. Love you guys so much. All right. Hopefully you wrote those down, because on this show, we don't do a recap page. I tell you from the start, you better grab that pen, you better grab that paper, and write it down as we go, because we grind for you, but we don't do all the work for you. So with that being said, I don't even know if I'm allowed to do this on the first cut, but damn it, I'm going to do it anyway. There's only one thing left to do, and I believe you all know what that is. You've got your marching orders. Let's take all of these 3M open tickets straight to the pay window. For our entire crew, I love them all. My man Sia, Patrick, Troy on the ones and the twos. I am the coach. It doesn't matter the day. We're here 7 days a week, every single day during the tournament, a full recap after the tournament day is over. There's only one golf show you even need to worry about. I am the coach, and this is The First Cut. Good luck.